Storm Debi, 60-mile-an-hour winds, Yorkshire, mountain biking. We're off out camping somewhere up there. I'm absolutely soaked through. This is shit and I love it. Ah dear, what a wild day. Storm Debi is delivering. Honestly, she has heightened all my senses, stimulated all of them, so I'm thoroughly enjoying this, being out in some wild weather. And you can see that all the trees have lost the leaves because of her. We've got a hell of a lot of water flowing down the valley as well, and loads of standing water as well. So it's going to be tricky finding somewhere dry to pitch a tent. And I don't want to be pitching anywhere near trees because there might be some deadfall fall down in the night and wipe me out. And I enjoy life, so I want to live for another day. Anyway, let's get ourselves through the round window and go find somewhere to pitch. Well, we're in after a bit of a fight trying to get that tent up. but I'm pretty happy with it. The pegs are all in nice and solid. I've got some delta pegs in as well, so that's hopefully going to help hold the whole thing down. I've lowered it as low as possible as well, just so the wind's going to whip over the top rather than using it as a big sail and pushing me over. I've got my sleeping mat in, I've got all my wet clothes off, I've put some nice dry leggings on. I've still got bare feet and they're just starting to get a little bit cold now. I made a mistake of putting a pair of socks on with some sealskin waterproof socks over the top, and they failed because I've had them that many years. They've just let water in, so now my dry socks underneath are wet. So luckily I've got some down booties in my bag here, so that should hopefully keep my feet warm. I've got my sea to summit pillow, so let's blow this up. So that's my head comfortable. And then in here I've got a lovely sleeping bag, which is the PHDesigns Minim 400k sleeping bag. So that is well warm enough for this evening. And to go with that, because it's that wet, I brought the Snowline Bivvy as well, so I'm going to put it inside the Bivvy, so at least it's got a bit of protection for the sleeping bag, because you just never know, it might leak in this tent, and if you get damp on the down, it's just going to flatten and you're going to be cold. So I'll get these out now. I've got my little down booties. These only weigh 45 grams. Just look at the size of them. 45 grams. Look at that. So let's get these on first job. Give them a bit of a shake around, get that down lofted. And then hopefully it's just gonna sort my feet out, keep them warm. And then we've got the Bivvy bag. Beautiful colour that, isn't it? Bloody hell, it is windy. Right, we'll get this toe box, we'll stick it right to the bottom of here. And then once that's inside the Bivvy, and this is a waterproof fabric on the outside, I just feel more comfortable the fact that I'm not going to get me down wet. So let's throw that down there, past you, and I'm going to get myself in and get warm. It's got a fully waterproof and breathable outer shell, fully taped seams. It's got a draw cord around the top just so you can sort of cinch it in a bit more around your head. And it has a layer of insulation all the way through, which is some Primaloft Gold. And then on the inside we've got another layer as well, which is just like a really nice lightweight sleeping bag material. The insulation layer works in two ways, because it will obviously add a little bit of insulation to your sleep system, so it will boost the temperature rating of your sleeping bag once you're inside this as well, but mainly it is for the management of moisture. So if you ever sleep in a bivvy, you'll sort of know that your body gives off quite a lot of moisture in the night, and that moisture will condense against the coldest surface, which is the outer section of it, and then you'll see that you might get frost on the inside of your sleeping bag in winter, or you get a build-up of moisture. That moisture then can potentially soak into your sleeping bag and then compress the down, which obviously then starts going against what the down is there for, to keep you warm. The fact that you've got this thin insulation means that the moisture ends up against the outer shell, and it's trapped within that insulation, not the down sleeping bag. So it just means that the down of your sleeping bag is kept safe and sound, especially if you are on a multi-night adventure, because you don't want it to be wet on the first night. You will not dry it out for the second night. Anyway, let's get in it and get myself nice and warm. I'm gonna have to move you, you're in my way. Oh yes, straight away I just feel better. Ace. Right, what am I going to do now then? It is 5:30, so that is 14 hours until 7:30 in the morning, and then I'll think about getting up and packing away. So it's a long time in a small space like this, in this harsh weather. What am I going to do? And the other thing is, I've got no phone reception. So I'll just have to play with myself, eh? Whatever that entails. Anyway, I've got some nice food to cook, and I've also got a coffee to make, so that's going to pass a little bit of time. And the other good thing is, I often just sit within my brain and design stuff, and I absolutely love it. So I'll think of a problem that I've got in life and I'll come up with a solution, and it's just one of the things that I thoroughly enjoy doing. So yes, hopefully I might come up with something decent tonight that I might be able to produce and help me out for another day. Anyway, I'm going to lay down, chill out for an hour or two, and then I'll bring you back when I'm doing some cooking and making a coffee. This wind's been pretty unforgiving. I've been laid here for about an hour and a half, listening to the tent rattle, and in turn it's been rattling my eardrums. But I think it subsided a little bit, because earlier on when I was on the bike I was just getting pushed off course. I mean, it was 60-mile-an-hour gusts, which were just pretty hard to pedal against at times. So now I think it might be 30-40 mile an hour gusts, something along those lines, so it's not as bad, but it is still there. I've got a big pile of wet clothes there, which is going to be lovely to put on in the morning. And luckily I'm inside all this and I'm just warm and dry. That is the main thing. Anyway, it is time for some dinner, so I'm going to get out my little cooking kit and we're going to cook up some nice food for the evening. And I've got, let's have a look at this. We've got an an Indonesian style spicy rice with pork. That's just an army ration pack. And I've just got some good grains to go with it, which are pesto infused. Completely not right with each other, but it's all I had, so that is what I'm going to eat tonight. Anyway, let's get all this kit out. Just get our gas canister out. I've got my little gas canister holder there, which just gives it a little bit of a support, so it's not going to fall over in my tent, because obviously I've got to do everything inside at the minute because it's too windy and wet out there, so I can't really open the door. A little bit risky, but this is why it's worth getting a tent with a vestibule that you can actually cook in. Let's get this little thing out. I have had this so many years, it is still doing me absolutely proud. GSI, can't remember. Right, let's just make that stable there. Keep all my bits together. Got my pan. So I'm going to shove all this into that pan and then just slowly heat it up. I don't want to burn it. That's the problem with these little stoves, they are quite direct on the heat, so you need to keep stirring. Anyway, let's get this open. Oh, it smells good. Put a squidge of water in as well. Cooking. I like this stove. Oh, that's nice. Right, let's not waste energy. I'll get that on there. Hopefully I've got my long handle spoon so I can give it a stir. Stop it burning on the bottom. Right, I think we're done. I'm not expecting much from this. Let's have a taste and see, eh? good texture, but not the best taste. It's all right. Beggars can't be choosers, and it's hot. That's the main thing. There we go. I can warm my hands up with it. Ow, maybe a bit too hot. Done. I absolutely love this cooking set. I've pretty much used this for the last, must be 10 years now, and not needed anything else. I do have the bigger version of it for 2 people if necessary, but it's just awesome. I can just do all my cooking in that food wise, and I keep that solely for food, and then anything to do with water and boiling water, I'll just boil it in here. And the fact that it's an insulated cup as well just keeps my tea or my coffee warmer longer. And also, if you can see that orange bit there, let me see if I can just flip it off one-handed. So this is just like a little cereal bowl, so I use that sometimes to put cereal in the morning, or I use it also for giving the dog some water. So it's not a bad little addition to it, and it don't really weigh much, so I just keep it all together like that. So yeah, absolutely brilliant. I don't even know if there is anything out there that is better than that. It's just awesome. As I say, it's lasted me for definitely 10 years, and this pan here, because I've stirred it a million times, it's just starting to wear in one particular place where I do the same sort of swoop. But apart from that, it is still going strong. So yeah, maybe worth considering buying that one. I know quite a few people have bought it because of me using it on the channel sort of thing, but I can't see a fault with it really, and I don't think you could better it. Right, let's get a coffee on then. I'll get my second pot out. Just take this sleeve off. We'll get some water on the boil. The coffee I've got tonight is a toffee nut one, so that's going to be nice, isn't it? But I'm going to add another one to it because it's actually quite a big cup, and I'm going to fill it right up, and it's a bit dilute if you just use one of those packets on its own. So there you go. And the caffeine thing doesn't really affect me anyway, so we'll be fine. Do it all one-handed. Ow. Pop that on, stick the lid on, and hopefully it'll just be a bit more efficient when it comes to boiling it. I'm looking forward to having a coffee. I'll probably be up all night now after drinking a double whammy worth of caffeine. Now I'll be right. If anything's going to keep me up, it'll be this wind battering this tent all night. Right, that should be hot enough. I'm obviously not adding any milk to cool it down at all, so I don't want to overboil it. Just keep it just below boiling. I could always add a bit of water, I guess. Anyway, where am I with it all? It's just so like compact in a small tent like this. It's always a little awkward. Oh yeah, first job then, let's make this safe, because that has potential energy there, hasn't it? Potential energy to fall off, pretty much ruin everything around it. So we'll pop it into that, and then now at least I can put it safe on the ground and reduce the potential energy. Going back to physics lessons, eh? Right, let's get these coffees in then. Oh, that looks nice and creamy. Oh, it smells good, does that? I think I need a bit of sugar. Let's pop this one in as well, whatever this is. I'm going to be wired, aren't I, later? Right, I'll give that a good stir. That will do the trick. wet and warm and a little bit sweet as well. Spot on. It is nice to be out. I always say that, I know, but it really is. And being in a storm as well, there's just something really special about it. I don't know whether it's the energy that is there or the power of it or what, but I've just thoroughly enjoyed today. And I've always done it as well. Like, even as a kid, I remember going out in all the bad weather and just being in it, you know, standing in it and feeling it on my face and everything. So I don't know, maybe I'm just a bit strange, but I do enjoy a good storm. And one of the best storms I've been in as well was in Tunisia, and I remember going with a partner from way back, and we got a teletext last minute deal, if you remember those, and it was like 280 quid all inclusive for a week to Tunisia. I mean, you can't get that nowadays, can you? But it was just a brilliant holiday, nice little escape. But one night there was this storm that came through, and I went out and just stood on the beach watching this storm just over the sea, and the lightning was just incredible, and the thunder was just, I could feel it as it sort of struck my body. It was unbelievable. So that was fantastic. Another holiday that I was on was in Menorca, or it might be Mallorca, I can't remember, but another cheap teletext holiday from probably about 2002, somewhere around there. Anyway, me and my girlfriend were on the beach. It was hot and sunny, and then a storm started rolling in. You could just sort of tell the temperature was starting to just change and the wind was picking up. So we thought we'll get up and go for lunch. So went to this restaurant, and whilst in the restaurant, the heavens opened up and hailstones piled out of the sky, and all the car alarms in the street started going off. And I went outside and I grabbed a handful of these hailstones, went back in, and then there was different sort of people sat in all these different cubicles in the restaurant, and I just had them in my hand and I just sort of showed them. And yeah, some people probably looked at me thinking this guy's weird, but they were looking at them and they were like, yep, ice cubes. And I was like, nope, they've just fallen from the sky outside. They were the size of ice cubes, and apparently somebody got knocked out on the beach because of it, and someone else got hospitalised as well. So what a mental storm that was. To say it was probably 25-30 degrees Celsius. Yeah, storms, absolutely love it. Anyway, enough of this chit and chat. Let's drink me coffee, sit back and listen to this rain. There's no better than that either, is there? Rain on a tent. On cue. The rain and wind keep coming through periodically and blasting the tent, but currently it's rather calm. I've been out, done the toilet and teeth thing, and I've been and checked all the guy lines on the tent just to make sure everything's nice and solid. So hopefully we're not going to get blown away in the night. I've also taken my jacket off because otherwise I would melt in all this gear. And we don't want to add another puddle to the day, do we really? I am not looking forward to getting up and putting all that wet gear on. But we'll worry about that in the morning, eh? Anyway, I'm going to drop this, cover my eyes, just like that, and we'll see you in the morning. Take care. Morning, flowers. Well, the rain has finally stopped. It absolutely hammered it down all night, and it kept sort of waking me up. I must have woke up maybe 10 times, but then equally the rain put me back to sleep again as well. So not the deepest of night's sleep. In fact, let's look at my heart rate data. So my lowest heart rate was 43. You can't see that. Which isn't as low as it normally goes. Normally I'll drop into the 30s. So it sort of shows that I wasn't really in that deep sleep, but just one of those nights. Anyway, I am dreading getting on all this wet gear because I can't do anything till I've got that on. So once that's on, I can then actually take all this off, pack my bag, and get myself ready to get back on that road again. And the tricky thing is, it's all packed into a 30-litre backpack, so it does need to be tightly put in. Anyway, there's no else to do, is there, but get up, so I'm gonna have to do it. It started again, just on time for me to get out into it, eh? Well, that took some doing. Packing away in this tiny little space, getting everything into that little backpack and getting all this wet gear on. Pretty horrible, to be honest. And obviously you can hear it is raining considerably too. I've got some very wet gloves here, which I've got like an inner liner, and there's just no chance I'm going to get them on. I just don't see that I'll be able to put them on with my damp hands. Some very wet trainers. But I'm warm enough, I'm happy enough, that's the main thing. Now what I can do, is there? Brilliant. What a life. Anyway, a few things that I've learned from this trip. I need to fully wash and reset the Gore-Tex in this old Gore-Tex jacket and give it a nice good DWR coating on the outside, because that's going to help with the water repellency. I've got these Nike Storm Fit bottoms on, which are meant to be waterproof, and to be fair, they're pretty good up until a point, but once that point's passed, they almost just soak up water, and putting them on this morning, they were actually quite heavy. So as far as a waterproof running pant, I wouldn't advise them, because they, once they do get wet, they are heavy and will stick to your legs as well, so they're going to sort of chafe a little bit. So anyway, what else? Oh yeah, the tent has got a couple of tiny little dot leaks on the seams, and that is because I have never seam sealed this tent. So I'm going to have to bite the bullet on a couple of dry days, get it out in the garden and give it a good nice seam seal. Apart from that, it's been lovely, hasn't it? Anyway, let's get an attempt to get these last bits of kit on and get out that door, eh? There is absolutely no chance I'm getting them on. Ah, none whatsoever. Right, here we go. Are you ready? Let's go see what the day's got to offer us. It's a wet one. Look at the water everywhere. Absolutely brilliant. bike, that were horrible. I started getting cold hands, so I spent about 10 minutes putting my gloves on, and at least I've got a little bit of heat coming back, and I obviously need these for braking my bike. So anyway, leave no trace as always, and now we're going to skedaddle back home to go get some nice warm clothes on. But first, we might as well get on bike and have a play on some of these bankings. Well, that's enough of that messing about. Storm Debbie, you've been a pleasure. In fact, you've been a great help pointing out a couple of flaws in my kit, which means I can get back and give my kit a little bit of TLC, ready for the next adventure. Anyway, we are back at the bike, ready to skedaddle home. What an adventure, and if you're going to get out on your own adventures, make sure you do so whilst your body still can, because it will fade. And just to offset that fade in, get out and do some exercise, eat healthily, and just look after yourself, and then you can get out and do more of this for longer. Anyway, if you've enjoyed the video, give it a big fat thumbs up, and if you want to contribute towards the channel, you can do by buying me a coffee in the Buy Me a Coffee link, and you can also join the Patreon. Awesome, eh? Anyway, from me and the beautiful bike, we'll see you on the next one. Take care.